one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
D.A. Graham.
Present.
Thea Gusson.
Present.
Denise Millington absent. Jane Rosenbaum absent. Guillermo Gomez. Gerald Trueheart absent. Lucy Vandenberg present. Jason Redd. We have a quorum.
The New Jersey Public Meetings Law is enacted to ensure the right to the public to have an advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted on. On the rules of this Act, the Trenton Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting by publicizing the date, time, and place, therefore posted in the Central Services Building, 108 North Clinton Avenue, City Clerk's Office, City Hall, and the Times. Anyone whose name is on the mailing list should have received notice. Formal action will take place at this meeting. I'm going to ask for a motion to adopt the agenda with the following items being pulled. Human Resources, item R. Finance and Facilities, item D. Special Ed, item LL. And Human Resources, item C. And that's the termination of Phillips Williams. And then Human Resources item R was a transfer of Elena Stremlo from Jefferson to Stokes. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
D.A. Graham.
Yes.
Thea Gusson.
Yes.
Denise Millington absent. Jane Rosenbaum absent. Guillermo Gomez.
Yes.
Gerald Trueheart absent. Lucy Vandenberg.
Yes.
Jason Redd. Agenda adopted with amendments.
Good evening. Good evening. Tonight, Principal Hope Grant is proud to present her music and arts departments. Under the art instruction of Ms. Kokuza and Mr. Andrew Siebert, Trenton Chambers High School students have created Hansa hand designs, a palm-shaped amulet popular throughout the Middle East, and it is believed to provide defense against evil. The Trenton Chambers High School art students have also developed black and white optical illusion cubes that have been connected, that when connected will visually lead viewers around a three-dimensional cubes. And you can see those outside of the auditorium. The Trenton Chambers High School Orchestra and Band, under the directions of Mr. Joseph Pacciani and Mr. Ted Plunkett, will perform Cheerleader, See You Again, and Stevie Wonder's Best Hits. The Trenton High School musicians that you see playing here tonight will also be performing tomorrow at Atlantic City's Convention Center for the New Jersey School Boards Association, representing the school district. But first, Principal Talea Wilson also is delighted to present the latest singing sensation from Robeson Elementary School, 5th grader Jamie Neville, who will sing her 3-minute rendition of Beyonce's famous song, Halo, which was written and recorded using only vocals, keyboards, synthesizers, and a bass drum. Jamie will be accompanied by her music teacher, Ms. Gianni Costa. Genevieve Costa. Thank you, Jamie. And now we have the Trenton Chambers High School Orchestra. Puccini, Mr. Pumpkin, Mr. Diaz. Keep practicing that name. Thank you so much for what you do with the children every day. Thank you. And again, tomorrow morning they will be representing us at the New Jersey School Boards Association Conference. So they will represent Trenton very, very well.
Mr. Wallace, you didn't tell me you were coming today.
You never know. You never know when I'm okay. I just told you you're going to go there right.
I haven't worked on it.
While public education can present emotional and difficult issues, the Trenton Board of Education will strive to maintain a certain level of decorum at the meeting. Students often attend and participate in the meetings. As such, citizens are expected to maintain a tone of courtesy and civility. Policy 0171 states that the board president is responsible for the orderly conduct of all board meetings and is charged with enforcing the board policies related to the conduct. Board Policy 167 permits the fair and orderly expression of such conduct. The policy states that the presiding officer may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement when the statement is too lengthy, abusive, or obscene, and may request that an individual leave the meeting when that person does not observe a reasonable decorum, or request the assistance of law enforcement in the removal of a disorderly person when that person's conduct interferes with the orderly progress of the meeting. A call for a recess, adjournment to another time when the lack of decorum not so interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting as to warrant such action. This board uses the public comment period as an opportunity to listen to concerns, but not to debate issues or enter into a question and answer session or cross-examination between the public and individual members. Please be aware that not all issues brought before the board meeting will be resolved this evening. The board may respond to public comment by seeking additional information or by delegating the authority to investigate the issue to the superintendent or her designees.
Thank you. The first speaker is Principal Grant.
Of Trenton Central High School. This statement that I'm about to read is written on behalf of the administrative team of Trenton Central High School. On Saturday, October 17th, a transgender Trenton Central High School student was crowned homecoming queen. Over the last week, there have been negative comments made through social media and published in the newspaper that have detracted from the positive experience of being elected to the homecoming court. In today's society, when teens are often struggling with the myriad of issues and problems, we proudly stand as an institution where this student is able to walk in her true identity every day without the fear of being bullied, harassed, physically assaulted, or being discriminated against. This is one of the true stories that is happening every day at Trenton Central High School. As a school district, we recognize that topics regarding sexuality and gender identity can often be difficult. In order to protect the rights of students and guide the actions of district staff, the Trenton Board of Education has policies in place. One of the negative comments that has emerged through online conversations is that a person's birth gender defines their identity. The district policy states that the Trenton Public Schools will accept a student's assertion of his or her gender identity when there is consistent and uniform assertion of his or her related gender identity. In essence, this means that students are recognized by the gender they identify with and not the gender of their birth. Another vitriolic comment published both in the newspaper and on social media questions a student's right to run for the homecoming court. Another district policy states that pupils will not be separated or isolated by race, color, creed, religion, national origin, ancestry, age, marital status, affectational or sexual orientation or sex, social or economic status, or disability within schools, courses, classes, programs, or extracurricular activities. This is our policy, and this is the law. While many high schools in New Jersey and across the nation are struggling with providing a safe learning environment for students who are transgender, Trenton Central High School is not. We are immensely proud of our students. Our students are developing into citizens who accept each other, support each other, and respect our commonalities and our differences. These are lessons that adults most sometimes need to learn from students. Imagine a world where everyone was able to walk in their true self every day and be respected, loved, and not judged. What a wonderful world that would be. Thank you.
I'm the proud parent of the person that won homecoming queen, J. You know, she's been living with this for a long time. And the struggle she's been going through is so hard. It's just this past year that she wanted to come out of the closet and show people who she really is. By running for homecoming queen, it wasn't her decision. It was the support of her friends and students and staff at Trenton Central High School, which I'm proud to have my daughter attend. When she ran, she told me, "Mom, I don't think I'm going to win." I told her, "If you don't win, at least you try." Fortunately, when she came home, she played a trick on me that Friday and told me she didn't win. And I told her to hold her head up high because I was proud for her to try. When she finally told me she won, the joy that was in my eyes was outrageous. When I walked with her on Saturday at homecoming, I was proud to hold my head up and say that was my daughter. She did something and she achieved something in life. When we woke up Monday morning, that happiness went to sorrow when I read the paper and the negativity that was put in the paper.
I know it did. That's all right.
To be scared that my daughter would go to school and get hurt by somebody. But I knew it wasn't from the students and the staff. Wondering who was going to be outside the school. Because you hear some negativity things about people not liking the idea of people being who they are. We aren't to judge. There's only one person that can judge us, and that's God.
That's right.
If I wanted to be a man, I'd be a man. There's a lot of us that have friends and relatives and relationships and that are involved, that are gay, lesbians, and same-sex marriages are legal now. So what makes the difference that my daughter was proud enough and had the courage to run for homecoming queen?
And she won.
And she won. What would be the difference if she would have ran for homecoming king and won? Would there be something said because she don't look like a he, she looks like a she? So I'm proud to be that parent. And I'm proud that she goes to Trenton Central High School. She has the support of her friends, the staff at that school. That's all I have to say.
And I
you never had to hear it by Facebook. That was my issue. Live on Facebook. So I found out the person who put it on Facebook don't even go to the school. So how did he get in the building? This is not the first time with this building that people got inside. I have an issue with that. Yes, I will say this. If my son get attacked, again, there's going to be a real big issue. Because I want to know how these children get inside the building. Well, now, when we have supposed to have security. And I just want to know what you guys want to do to protect not just my son, but the rest of the kids. Because that's my issue. And I'm going to fight for it. Because I'm not just going to stop right here. I'm going farther. I'm doing my own investigation about privatization when it comes to security in school. Because I'm here, it's not just school district. It's all over.
Kids monitoring.
Bullying is really serious. I don't consider my son being bullied, but I really feel as though that when you don't have protection in the school, at the door or at another end, there's an issue to me. And my son's a good kid. He's not a street boy. He's none of that. None of my sons. I got 2 more other sons. They're not into that. But just for him to get attacked because of where he lived and who he know, and then bring him to school, I have an issue with that. So I hope we can all work together. Ms. Grant and I and her staff, they was wonderful. Because I thought I had to go in there and act a little different. But they was humble to me just as much as I was humble to them and my family. It wasn't just me by myself, it was my family too. Because if we try to keep it in-house, not outside. And I thank my family too. Because all of us stand strong to make sure he's protected. But my son told me the other day, Saturday, he said, Mom, I'm going to stand up proud. I'm going to walk back into that school. Right. And I ain't being transferred, right. So they better keep it. I'm going to go back. He said, because what they did to me ain't nothing to what they did to me here. But y'all need to figure out, because I am filing charges, to figure out what you want to do to protect my son and the rest of these kids in this school district.
That's right.
Because if it happens again, we're going to have a big issue, just like I said. And I thank you for hearing me.
That's right, Mom.
Brody Dawkins.
I'm standing here before your dad, and I'm looking up here and see 11 board members, minus 1. You're all strangers to me. I know one person whom I grew up with. It's not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I walk through the schools of Trenton, and I see administrative positions, mostly all strangers. And I'm questioning myself. I walk through the schools for our security. There was a point where a time where most of the security came from this area. And they were board employees. They had medical coverage. They made a decent salary. Now you expect security to come in at for $11 an hour, resourcing company, and get hurt. When they get hurt, there's no medical insurance for them. There's no medical coverage for them. So, that's what the lady said. Where's the security? A lot of securities are afraid to give her because they out of work and they can't support their family because they have no medical insurance. All this outsourcing. We have teachers who has been in the district for years in the classroom, who was encouraged years ago, I know because I was here, to go back to school and get their paperwork to become principals and administrators. Those same teachers are still sitting in the classroom, and you got these outsiders coming in their position. Meanwhile, they don't pay the student loans, took out loans to take classes, thinking that they were going to be administrators in the school. Consistent outsourcing. I had an outsourcing agency, Insight Workforce, who's in charge of the school district, called my home. And in the conversation I had with this person, I said to him, how are you want to overlook Trenton residents, veteran residents, who has been in this school district, to bring in people who don't live in this area, who from the second day of school start calling on for work and come to work late. His answer to me was, that's not my problem. All I do is supply bodies.
That's what they do.
At that point, when I went and stood before city council, then went to the mayor and had a proper meeting with him, then his agency had called me, or send me an email, want me now to be an employee for them, asked me for a list this long of stuff that I just applied to them. But meanwhile, I know other people who work for them, and none of this was asked of them. But they want to justify that, well, she didn't apply to what we asked her to do a month or so after I first put an application in with them. Okay, we have outsourcing people who feel they could talk to us and treat us any kind of way. Residents of Trenton, taxpayers. We outsource our jobs and then you don't have money to pay your bills because the people who used to work for you can no longer work for you because they pay outsiders to work in positions that we city residents used to have. And you wonder why you're short every year as far as funding for taxes. We got to do better. You got to do better. Education is not a business. It's not a business. It's about the children.
Solid road.
Tyrone Gaskins, Principal Tag Resources, 540 East State Street, Trenton, and Board Secretary for the Partnerships for Trenton. I come tonight to speak on the changing demographics and cultural fabric of our city and the need for special education and supportive family services that reflect those changes. These comments are representative of the concerns of qualified and available bidding contractors and businesses, special education and supportive service providers, and the children and families of our Trenton community. They are specific to pending bid openings regarding speech and language, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and home instruction services. Our Trenton children and families are a quilt of more than 32 ethnic and cultural groups living in 7.5 square miles, hailing from parts of Mexico, Central and South America, the Caribbean, parts of Africa, and many others. These diverse groups represent Dominicans, Haitians, Mexicans, Costa Ricans, Liberians, Guatemalans, Puerto Ricans, and many, many others. As the increased privatization of special education services is mainstream nationally and in New Jersey as a cost-cutting measure and best practice, we are asking the Trenton Board of Education to consider in its bid selection processes onboarding consultants, skill constellations, and delivery paradigms among providers that speak to the makeup of our community. The city's youth demographic is increasingly diverse, and the need for cultural relevancy, language proficiency, and the ability of consumers to self-identify with practitioners is paramount. These are critical factors in optimizing elementary and secondary students' educational and learning processes and achievement. Further, we want to emphasize the difference between small, minority, local providers versus national and multi-jurisdictional corporations. These big companies often do not understand or are unable to be responsive to our local communities and to our children's needs. For example, service verification and controls are often not present in the board's relationship with nationwide providers. The staff of these firms are often not readily available when problems arise, and at the school or at home with the family. Often, the only contacts local families have, particularly parents and secondary students, are by phone with a regional executive who often is not available to answer the call for responses. As a representative of children, families, and qualified special education and support services, thank you.
Thank you.
he should go back to PJ Hill. And it wasn't in writing, okay? I feel that my grandchild should go where he was supposed to have been going, okay? Why would you wait till the end of summertime to call me and tell me that he wouldn't be going there? I don't think that's right, and I don't think no supervisor has that right to tell me where my grandson should go.
They don't.
Okay, I'm his advocate. I'm his grandmother. I take care of him. I'm the one that should be telling him where he should go and where he should not go. Okay, and something needs to be done about it. Okay, I take care of him. Okay, me and Miss Reed, I had a conference with her Thursday, and she also feels that my grandson should go there. Okay. That's all I have to say.
Miss, could you connect with this family here? Please connect with Mr. Jesus.
Call with him. You have 6 minutes.
Good evening. I'm coming before you because I brought this issue up and I just kind of feel like it's not being handled. The interference of the supervisors with child study team decisions is an illegal action. It has to stop, okay? If the child study team makes a decision to put a child out of district, it's for a reason. They know our kids. Our supervisors are new supervisors. We all know that. They don't know our children. And I'm getting aggravated. And if I get one more email back from that department telling me that my email is inaccurate or that I'm misquoting code, I'm going to have a problem. Reason being, I've been working in this district for 4 years advocating for our children. 4 years, 4 long years. And I've dealt with a lot of things, but I'm not going to be disrespected by the supervisor or supervisors who's ever, making the decisions. I'm not going to be disrespected by them. Because I've worked really hard to try and keep this district stable when it comes to special ed. I've done a lot of things to keep this district out of litigation, okay? And I'm not going to be disrespected, so I'm aggravated, and I'm tired of getting calls from parents. Now tonight, I have one parent that came out, she just called me this morning with this issue, but I've gotten 7 or 8 calls from different parents who've gotten phone calls in August, okay, saying, oh, we're not going to send your child out of district. I know the child study team made that decision, but let's try it in district for 30 days. That's illegal. And it's got to stop. And I'm warning you guys, it's going to be litigation. So the money that we think we're saving is going to cost you a lot of money in the long run. And for the people that think that they're making these decisions because you want to impress somebody, at the end of the day, when the litigation and the dollars hit, they're the same people that's going to put you back where you came from. Okay? So it's got to stop. The decisions that the child study teams make, they need to be left where it is. I'm tired of getting phone calls saying, oh, child study team requested a one-on-one for a child. Well, the supervisors want to question that decision. It's okay to have dialogue about it. I don't have a problem with that. But when you're telling a parent and a child study team member, no, you can't have this one-on-one because I don't think it's warranted, that's wrong. It's wrong and it's not legal. So we got to get it together. So I'm asking that this issue comes up in executive session, if I can ask that. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I've been down this road before with DOE. You want to ask my mom to forever. Who?
Your 6 minutes, Chris.
Good evening. My name is Janera Cruz. I am the parent of Tasmir, Messiah Cruz, and Princess Planet. My issue tonight is transportation. My daughter didn't have a bus the entire month of September. We would walk into the gang-infested area of Cleveland Avenue in Gladstone and wait with the local drug dealers and prostitutes and drugged-out moms yelling out windows, telling the kids to get down the street. And no bus would come. 9 o'clock comes and me and my child are getting in the cab. The 3rd week of September, I had a life-saving surgery. I took her to school that Friday morning, and I told her, I said, somebody will be back to get you because I need to go to the hospital. I came home 3 weeks later. My child still did not have a morning bus. As we stand here, I got 220 staples and 87 stitches. But my child is important. It's worth me standing here. I get up every morning and walk her to this bus stop. My doctor said, don't get out of bed. He said, when you come downstairs in the morning, don't go back upstairs. But I go to the bus stop to make sure she gets to school on time. And what happened when I get there? The bus not on time. Today she got on the bus at 8:37. The other day it was 8:35. A couple of mornings ago it was a little after 9. And then me and Dee, she's sitting here. She says, why are you at the bus stop? I said, I had no choice. She said, it's 9 o'clock. Why are y'all at the bus stop? I said, because I just called Chuck at Rick Bus Company and he said the bus coming. My child late every day. Not some days, every day. She was late this morning, she was late the day before. But as long as I was getting up, putting her in a cab, she was on time. But guess where my rent money went? I spent $350 out of my rent money getting her from South Logan to Gregory School. I live on the borderline of Hamilton Township, but because she's a black child, they don't want her. But we ain't gonna talk color. They told me, I'm sorry, you live on the wrong side of the street. I share a zip code with them, no, you read my PSCNG bill, it say Hamilton, but she went to Trenton schools. And nobody wants to help me. You call transportation to talk to Ruben Rivera, he don't answer. You come in here, Ruben will be talking to you and watch the phone ring. Gretchen, y'all want to have to save her. Her attitude is nasty. Somebody will snatch her throat out by disrespecting parents.
You can name names.
They work here. And then when you call that 656-4900 number, the first thing you hear on whoever mouth that is, thank you for calling Trenton Public Schools where children come first. That's the biggest lie y'all ever told. If children come first, point me to the staff member that believes they come first, because I need a meeting with them.
Talk about it, girl.
And then I talked to Gretchen today, she catches the attitude because I asked her a general question. I said, how far is the 400 block of Genesee from the 9th grade academy on Pennington Avenue? She said, is this question about your child? It doesn't have to be about my child. You're the transportation department. Gretchen and Rivera have been working here all my life. I park the bus to school. So me asking you about a distance between a home and a school got to be related to my child. I still didn't get an answer. But we got children who are misplaced out of their schools that are in their communities on way to West Trenton, and when it's pouring down raining, guess how they get here? They walk. Y'all ride by in y'all nice cars with y'all nice payments, with y'all nice hairdos. Y'all can't offer them a ride because I'm sure that's against policy too. But these children have a choice. You can come to school soaking wet, or you go back home. If I gotta walk from South Trenton to Pennington Avenue, guess what? My children won't be at school on rainy days, and it's about to snow. Cars don't give a care about our kids. They don't care that you climbed over a mountain of snow to get across the street. They don't care. Nobody's looking out for our children. Nobody. But your mission statement is, welcome to Trenton Public Schools, where children come first. Point me in the right direction. Show me the employee that care. I'm still waiting for people to call me back. I'm still waiting. I came to the meeting the other night. She goes, oh, I'll be in contact with you. Nothing. Another member says, oh, call me and leave me your information. I called him 6 times since that meeting. No call back. No call back. And then you call Rick Bus Company and Chuck. Chuck don't care. Chuck just want to make sure Rick Bus Company get paid. Because when you call him in the morning and say, hey, you know, you said call you back because the bus not on time. Because the bus supposed to come at 8:20, but it got here at 9 o'clock. Second week, I've been home for 2 weeks. Bus still ain't on time, but my daughter is late every day. And when you guys go into whatever y'all go into, y'all gonna say, you know what, where's her parent? Why she late every day? It's not my fault. I'm taking her to the bus stop in this gang-related area, in this drug-infested area, and we standing on a corner where we don't know about it. So, just so happened, if they decide to come down the block we standing on and start shooting, we stop. I don't know them people. I've been standing in front of their house for 2 years. This is the first year I've ever had a problem with her bus coming late. First year the bus came at 8:07. This year they go, oh, anywhere between 8:28 and 8:35, which turns into 9:07, 9:10. But I'm stuck. If they start shooting, I got 220 staples. Where am I running to? If that's the case, I should have died on the operating table, but God seemed better. But y'all put the step in the danger zone. Oh, go
You have 3 minutes, sir.
Hi, I've been following up on this Trenton High School thing that I'm coming to you every month about. And I did an Oprah request to the Department of Education asking about a letter that is required for the district in order to close the facility at 400 Chambers Street. The Oprah request says no letter was ever given. I'd like to know, how is it that the school board was able to close the school facility at 400 Chambers Street if they never got approval from the Department of Education? Could you please point me in the direction of the person who would be able to answer that question? Nobody? Thank you for your time.
Currently a grad student and I live in the area. I work with students across the different high schools on a weekly basis. And I'm always amazed by how mature, open, and respectful my students are. They're extremely progressive. So I wasn't surprised when the student was elected homecoming queen. I could go on and on about the challenges that lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender youth face, including violence, hostility, and homelessness. So this is really a population that deserves our protection. And for that reason, I just wanted to publicly commend the Trenton student body, the administration, and the student's family for allowing this student and other students like her to be themselves and feel safe and accepted. I also wanted to respond to one of the arguments that I saw time and time again on social media, and this isn't to denigrate the students' win or homecoming titles in general, but several people argued that this student's win was in some way harmful to the other young girls that competed. And I just wanted to stress that we should be teaching these young women that their value is not tied to a high school crown, and that their worth cannot be compromised by something such as this. And this goes for all students regardless of their gender, race, gender identity, and sexual orientation. Thank you.
I won't be long. I just came out tonight because I want to represent my students as I should be. I am a counselor, and as a counselor, I'm supposed to speak in the best interest of my students. I have a number of special ed students who aren't getting the services that are dictated in their IEP. I have a number of special ed students whose services aren't even in their IEP that they should be getting. I have students that are in classes that don't meet the educational level to even be in those classes. How can you teach algebra to a student who's reading on a 3rd grade level? I don't understand that one. And then you have students who have serious behavior problems. It's in their IEP, they need some attention, some 101 or some behavior management, they don't get it. And when they go to classes, because they academically can go into a general ed class, then magically a general ed teacher is supposed to be able to handle this. Well, they haven't had training in it. They would like to handle it. And if you think this evaluation system is going to address it, it's not going to address it. What it's going to do is hurt a lot of good teachers who have good intentions, who haven't been trained to deal with these behavior problems. Also, as a counselor, I'm supposed to speak up not only for the teachers, but for the students who come in and don't know which way to go, the students that come in that haven't been prepared, don't know the expectations of 9th grade. They come in, I have students, and I've just begun to do my evaluation because I've been doing so much in discipline since now discipline somehow comes under guidance. But my students, when they come in, I'm supposed to look over their history, and I'm supposed to look over, their grades and make sure their placement is correct. I'm just beginning to do that now because of all the other work I'm doing. So I'm looking at students who are coming into the 9th grade who have failed 3, 4, and 5 subjects. How that happened, I don't know. But it's not just one student. and how students come into school and have horrendous log entries and those behaviors haven't been addressed. They have all this failure in their history, they have all these log entries in their history, and their attendance is atrocious, and all of a sudden they're in the 9th grade, and we tell them they have to come to school, they have to get good grades, they have to behave. Why should they believe me? They didn't do it before and they still got to the 9th grade. I'm just asking you to look at the students, look at under the paperwork, under the showman reports that you get, and see what we're working with. Because we're working pretty doggone hard to help these students succeed. But if we don't have the support services, and we're doing 50 other things when we're supposed to be doing, you know, one thing, my primary objective is helping them have educational success so they can have lifelong success. I can't do it if I'm constantly telling them, be quiet, shut up, behave, get here on time, don't talk nasty, and all that other little crap. That's all I have to say.
No disciplinary.
Good evening. The last time I attended a board meeting in order to observe controversial discussion about the head boys basketball job in this district, administration repeatedly said, if Mr. Young is not hired, Nana Manful should not get the job simply based on default. To be honest, administration is correct. Our student athletes deserve to have a leader that gets the head coaching job on merit. Not that certification is not important, because it is. But from a basketball standpoint, I think I have what it takes to be the head basketball coach. Merit is exactly why I, Nana Manful, should have been awarded the head basketball position. Besides the fact that I'm an in-house certified candidate, for about 5 years I was the all-time leading three-point shooter in my high school. I think that qualifies as merit. Despite the fact that my strength was in football, I was an all-conference basketball player. I think that qualifies as merit. In addition, I played on one of the few Cherokee teams that make it to the South Jersey semifinals, and I was a 2-year starter. So in my estimation, I'm not just an individual trying to grab a head coaching job solely because I'm a certified teacher. I am very qualified, and I should have obtained the position based on my merits as an athlete or coach. I do not think it hurts that as a football player I was first team all conference, all county, first team all group 4, first team all South Jersey, and first team all state. So I was not just trying to grab the job because I'm a certified teacher. For the pundits to say those are football credentials, from a coaching standpoint, I'm far more qualified to be a head basketball coach than football coach. First of all, I've been a head high school basketball coach. That was not mentioned at the last board meeting. My athletic director at Millville emailed and phoned former Superintendent Francisco Duran and current, athletic director Sharon Grady, and gave a good recommendation. Again, for those that say I'm a football guy, I coach college basketball. I'm more than qualified. I coach college basketball at Division III Rutgers University and Wilmington College. So I'm not just a football guy, I'm not just a teacher. I am a qualified basketball coach. Again, for those that say I should not have gotten the job based on default, they are correct.
You have 15 seconds, sir.
I should have gotten the job based on merit, the merit I just provided. It's unfortunate that Ms. Grady and I are on different sides of this issue, because since I've been here, I've had 13 good evaluations. I've never been late to a practice. I've never missed a practice. Ms. Grady and I have never had an issue with each other until this issue. So I think I've served this district with good distinction, and I think I'm qualified for this position. I just certified and qualified.
Do you have, wait, please?
trying to deal with?
No. Nobody's yielding. Jarrell Blakely should be next. There's no yielding.
3 minutes. Thank you very much. Good evening. I'm speaking regarding the basketball position and controversy. I am a civics teacher at Trenton Central High School West, and I teach my students to avoid something called situational ethics. That is, bending the rules and ethical standards based on what may benefit your cause in a particular instance, or then discarding those standards when they no longer serve your purpose. You see, in situational ethics, you can justify almost anything. Law becomes mere suggestions, contracts become merely recommendations, and rules become a toolbox, only of use when it serves your purpose. I tell my students that contracts are the foundation of a just society, and that when contracts are broken, it can contribute to a climate of mistrust. Furthermore, when hiring practices are circumvented, and cronyism, nepotism, and a culture of the hookup is combined, it becomes untenable. This situation has been hopelessly corrupted, and I recommend that something be done. When rules are relaxed because of pre-existing relationships, it sends a message to our community. I worked hard for my certifications and my bachelor's degree and my master's degree and my current PhD study. But if this is passed, it sends a message that in Trenton, the culture of the hookup supersedes formal hiring practices. If this is the new way of doing things, I guess I'll throw my hat in the ring for superintendent. I don't have the years of experience or the requisite degrees, but hey, who needs it here if this passes? Can I get the hookup too? I would be remiss to add that, or remiss to speak to the character, integrity, and dedication of Mr. Manfield. As someone who has worked with him, I can attest to his high moral fiber and his skills as a scholar, educator, and human being. As someone with extensive experience as a scholar athlete, including a full 4-year scholarship to a Division I school, Mr. Manfield has the academic and sports chops to contribute to this district in this capacity. I understand the position that you're in, and I don't envy you. You hear complaints all day. Whatever I say, please do not come to the Board of Social Services, which I sit on, because I don't think I can take it. However, I would not allow all of the distractions to dissuade you from doing what is right. Do not allow cronyism, hookupism, and special favors to influence your decision. Whenever you have to post something, pull it, post it, there is a fly in the buttermilk. Do the right thing. I thank you for your consideration, and do the right thing. I appreciate it.
Good evening, board, community. I'm here this evening again to talk about the basketball position. I'm not here to talk about the individuals. I'm here to talk about procedures. Procedures that this board and its leadership did not follow. I see tonight you have on for appointment Darryl Young as head basketball coach. Keep in mind, this same board terminated Mr. Young. You have people that sit on your board who are HR experts. If that is your area of expertise, one should know that you cannot terminate someone and not repost the position. We just finished an arbitration that was ruled in the board's favor because they said the individual had been terminated, therefore there was no grievance on the part of the association because the individual was terminated by the board. As a result of that, we will now file another expedited arbitration because the board attorney said, this is what he said, the district's, the board's ad hoc committee, the HR ad hoc committee, of which Dr. Graham serves on, has okayed the appointment of Mr. Young to the position, and that this board on tonight, he told us all, would be appointing Mr. Young to the position. I said, I find that awful strange and in violation of ethic rules that you can make a determination that individual board members are going to approve the appointment of a terminated employee. The lawyer you pay said that you all were going to vote for the appointment of the terminated employee. I said, okay, let them do that. Jason is an Esquire. Then we will file an expedited arbitration because the arbitrator already said it's moot, the guy was terminated. Why are you here for the grievance? We can't rule in your favor. But let me tell you what's in your HR handbook as it relates to job postings. It says the HR department is directly responsible for the intake and the vetting of all credentials of people who apply for jobs. That it goes through HR. So if HR had done its due diligence, it would have determined when the individual applied for the job they didn't have what? Certification. And they would not have been entitled to an interview. I'm talking about procedures. What's in your handbook? What you approved. I find it ironic that you are approving all of these policies that are just coming, that I've never heard second or third readings on. And that you're just quoting new policies of new procedures and regulations, and yet half of them don't even appear online. If you go to look up the regulation, you can't find it, but yet it's a public document. So you have to navigate through all that to find policies and procedures. I'm saying to this board, your own HR division violated its process, its due diligence. But knowing this board and how it's operated and in the past, and it appears that it's going to operate like that again in the future, you've already expended probably $1,500 to $2,000 on this arbitration. You'll spend another $1,500 to $2,000 on the next arbitration. Let me see. The stipend is $8,000. The arbitrator will sit there for hours and do billables. So, I would guess that you're going to spend more than $8,000 in legal fees than the stipend position. When this all could have been avoided by repost because you terminated somebody. This is going to go down in history that you're going to hire somebody that was terminated and not repost the position and allow everyone to reapply again, even if it's the individual that you terminated. You still must post. But we'll go through the expedited arbitration. We'll file another appeal with the commissioner, all because this board does not follow its own policy that's stated in its own manual. You were delinquent. You're punishing people because you were delinquent and did not do what you have in writing. You did not vet the credentials. And it says here that if they aren't vetted and they don't qualify because they don't have the proper credentials, then they're not supposed to be granted an interview. Come on. You've been beat up on here tonight. You really have. You have been beat up on. And everybody who's come forth this evening deserves to beat you up. Deserve to beat you up. I'm very disappointed in what I heard regarding special ed because we knew the litigation that we were just in years ago. That litigation is not over yet. But you're asking for more litigation and you're really asking this state monitor to remain here. The next thing I know, we'll be talking about a state takeover. That's what he's sitting here waiting, hoping for. Do your homework, boy. But to have an attorney sit up there and say that you're voting for a terminated employee, your attorney that you pay for, since when can he guarantee how these 9 individual people are going to vote? And how dare it come out of the HR ad hoc committee who should know the legal ramifications of termination and not reposting. Shame, shame, shame on you all. Good evening, all. I want to again speak with regard to the basketball coaching situation. And I'm not going to be redundant. I'm not going to repeat what you already heard. I'm sure that you heard it very clearly. But I'm going to give the addition which is a threat of retaliation. Because a young man named Nana Manful respected the coaching process. So among coaches, I just found out that the sitting coach wants to come back for a subsequent year, no one applies. So for 4 years in this district, Mr. Manful did not apply for this position. Once it was determined that the sitting basketball head coach was not going to return, Mr. Manful applied for a job that, as he has told you, is more than qualified, who has an excellent working relationship with our students. When he applied, he and one other person was interviewed for that job. It was unfortunate that we just went through the motions because it was determined before the actual interview who was going to have the job. That's unfortunate. And there were actually 3 applicants. One withdrew, I guess because they knew they weren't going to get the job. But Mr. Manful had the courage. And now because he had the courage, rumors are circulating around this district that he'll never get another appointment for a coach in Trenton. Now, I'm hoping that this process will be taken away from the AD, whose plan it is to block him for having future coaching positions, and put it back in the hands of HR, where it belongs. I have faith, or I'm trying to have faith, that we will try to start doing the right thing. How dare someone threaten among the coaches, well, he'll never have another job. What? I think it's unfortunate that we have a district that thinks that it's okay, some in this district, to operate like that. It's a misuse of power and a misuse of position. And if the right people come forward to testify, it will be dealt with head on. If the district doesn't do anything about it, as usual, TEA will. The second thing that I want to address this evening has to do with the discipline report that you will see this evening. As with the past 3 or 4 years, the information that is being put into this system is ridiculous. We're not properly reporting for whatever reason. And now we have administrators sitting in buildings saying, what am I going to do? I don't have a disciplinarian. I can't handle all this. Well, you should have filed out the appropriate reports when they were due in times past. So we have an issue with not entering the right information. We have building administrators turning around, turning away. Teachers, when they write up discipline reports, say there has to be 3 infractions of the same kind before a matter can be addressed. What? Nothing but issues and problems, and the people who are supposed to accept responsibility as being responsible for buildings and pushing it back on teachers. And then we have interruptions in the classrooms, and that affects teaching and learning. If we're in the learning business, something has to happen to correct this quickly. Because at the end of the day, for all of us, it should be about student achievement. and improving student achievement. Not just because I have 2 other children in my office right now, I can't deal with it. So because you have 2 children, it's not okay to say that one child who may be having a bad day can now go back into the classroom and keep 20 others from learning. We have to think about what we're truly doing here. The other thing I want to say with this report, and it should be very troubling to you, that in the 14-15 school year, that you only had 6 administrative hearings when you had more than 200 incidents put into the system. So something is not happening right in this district with the follow-through. And if you look at the data, the numbers aren't matching up, which lets me know that someone is not doing their jobs properly. Due diligence is lacking. And we need to address this problem the right way. So whichever subcommittee or committee the board has to deal with this, I sincerely hope that you will begin asking the right questions with regard to discipline, because it's no easy time right now in our middle and high schools. We have somewhat contained some of the issues, but and we can say it's getting to be cold weather, so it might be mild. I think you should use this cold weather to get a plan together that's going to work, and you need to start reporting information the right way instead of trying to sweep it under the rug. We need to address our issues and correct them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I will first open up by saying thank you for the opportunity to address the public. On October the 5th, we had a special board meeting, and I read a part of the letter that I have drafted for the community, the staff, and everyone. And I'd like to read that letter once again to the public. At this time, I want to thank the board members and Dr. Duran for their leadership and for their support. I am incredibly honored to be serving as the interim superintendent, and I look forward to working with the board and all of the stakeholders, union, community, parents, staff, and students towards the mission of graduating all students ready for college and productive life. I am passionate about the work and our mission. And I expect, with your support, to deliver on the mission of the Trenton Public Schools. It is my vision that every student thrives in every school, every moment. I plan to continue to build on the positive movement and accomplishments of the Trenton Public Schools. We are on track toward meeting our goals. The district is meeting with progress in many areas. We have higher graduation rate. We have a nationally recognized arts and music program. We have a physics science initiative, and we have a new school in the near future. It is because of this positive movement and energy, as well as my belief that we can and will do better for our students of Trenton, that I am excited about this coming year. I believe what we do matters. I believe leadership makes a difference. I believe teaching matters greatly. I believe we have the talent to absolutely accelerate learning. I believe we must collectively build on the progress we have made over the last few years. And I believe families and community are essential resource, and we must embrace them. It is our collective responsibility to ensure all students receive a holistic education that integrates the arts, the athletics, and the academics. As interim superintendent, I pledge to collaborate and to lead. The stage is set to advance our district. I want to thank you all for what you've done thus far for the children of Trenton and for all that you will continue to do for our children. We had a good start to the school year, and I know that we will have a great rest of the year. Thank you again for all that you've done for the children, and I pledge to do more for the children. Thank you.
Testing, 1, 2.
Good evening, Board of Education, leadership team, community members, fellow staff, teachers, etc. My name is Edward Ward. I'm the Supervisor of Instructional Technology and Accountability. For the next 10 minutes, I'm going to give you a Park 4 update. Basically give you an idea of what's going on and Trenton Public School plan to distribute our park results. The objective, we're going to examine the timeline for park reporting. Then I'm going to present to you on behalf of the superintendent and leadership team our Trenton Park reporting timeline. All right, let's begin. We're going to take a trip back to spring 2015. Trenton Public Schools being compliant to the Department of Education, we delivered park assessments to over 11,000 students, PDA, grades 3 through 11, 11,000 students for the end of unit. We had 8 students take the paper test in the PDA. We had 4 students take the paper test and turn the end of unit. Now there's controversy about the pros and cons of park, but our directive was to make sure we administer the park assessments. And I'm going to brag and give kudos to our principals, teachers, students, and community, because without them, we would not be able to deliver over 11,000 assessments via online. So during the summertime, July and August and September, on a national level, there was basically preparing performance level settings for the high school grades and grades 3 through 8. August and September, on a national level, basically the states and higher education voted to determine what will be the cut scores. What will be determined will be back in NJI, so it has for proficient, below proficient, advanced proficient, but actually they changed that. I'm going to show you that a little later in my presentation. During fall 2015, the assessment results will be available in the score reports on the state level and the district level. So this is basically what went on a national level. Moving right along to the state level. Okay, at this point here, October, you're probably aware that the state of New Jersey just released preliminary results. And I repeat again, it's preliminary results and it's statewide. November and December is when district will receive high school reports first, and then in December they will receive reports for grades 3 through 8. So, what will Trenton Public School do when the reports arrive? This is our timeline of events. We're going to begin October, November. Our leadership team is going to review the park timeline presented today to the Board of Education. We're going to look at the New Jersey state level scores, which are available via newjersey.com. November 11th, we're going to have our first park parent workshop titled Park Preparation and Park Student Reports at the upcoming Parent Roundtable. Basically, this will be a workshop for parents and community members to get some tips on how to prepare their children for park and initial how to basically review the student reports. That's critical information. During that time, once the reports start to arrive at Trenton Public School, the leadership team in central office will review district and school level high school data in grades 3 through 8 results. Leadership team, central office supervisors. Then at that point, we take it to the school level. And then principals, school leadership team, teachers will basically take a look at the school level and the student reports. This will take place in November and December 2015. After these steps have been taken, the next step will be to distribute the student reports. And this will go out to parents via the students. So at that point, December and January, parents will receive the first park student reports. At that point, we'll have our parents come back, February 17th, which will be part 2 of our parent workshop on how to basically read and analyze and really get some information out in regards to how well their child performed. At that time, February 17th, we have our second annual Central Office Academic Review and Data Analysis. This is basically principals will have a conversation with the leadership team, analyze the results, but not just park results, because that's basically what we call static information. That's data that took place months ago. But also look at trend data such as end-of-unit assessments, classroom assessments, to get a better idea of how we're going to improve instruction, what strategies we're going to put in place. Then, after February and March, we're going to recommend that each building has what we call parent workshops to continue that conversation at the building level, teachers and parents, etc. So this is our score release timeline, which begins October and concludes in March. Now this is ongoing because as we continue to receive park data after every assessment, basically we'll look back and follow these guidelines. Okay, what's different this year? Which you probably already seen if you had a chance to look at NJ.com, the park results, is we have 5 performance levels, level 1 through level 5. That's interesting because a lot of school districts basically have done this in the past. In the past, we had 3 performance levels. Below proficient, proficient, and advanced proficient. But a lot of school districts, such as Trenton, we normally take our students, what we call on the bubbles, and that's really what they call level 3, approaching expectations. So now increasing the band basically gives us better information to zoom in to find out exactly where our student resides. Exactly what type of concepts or skills that they need to improve on, or what concepts and skills that they exceed. All right, so some final thoughts. We all know that our first delivery of our scores is statewide. And you probably read in the newspaper that they're very low, which is common when we have a new assessment. Our districts basically looking at our park data in addition to end-of-unit data. Basically, we can basically start ongoing discussions about improving instruction. Communities and families, there are more telling numbers. They'll come in December and January, where individual schools and students in schools will get more detailed results. So at that point, when we have the school reports, the district reports, we'll better give you another analysis or another presentation, which will basically describe or present our district data. Also, we're going to compare it to state, and also to compare it to the district factor group A, which is districts similar to ours. So this is basically a preview and our plan on how we plan to deliver our park results over the next couple of months. Do I have any questions? Comments?
So these are individual student performance assessments, correct?
Correct. So basically, you'll have your district report, how well Trenton Public Schools performed. You have school level performance, and then you have individual students. Any others?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Mr. Stokes, present the electronic violence and vandalism post.
Good evening, Superintendent Fadia, Board President Ray, members of the board, members of the public. I stand before you excited and kind of a good mood. Some of you guys know that I do run a football and cheer organization in the city, and we have 2 teams that will be playing in the championship on Sunday, so I'm kind of excited about that. I want to see what happens, so I'm excited about that. The other reason, some people may not think I should be excited, but I'm excited about it. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. And while our season is not going so great, yesterday's loss, we did see some improvement from the previous 2 weeks. So there's reason to be encouraged for me. And as I go on to present this data, you know, while it's not the prettiest in the world, to me there's reason to be excited about where we're going and the improvement that we make and the steps that we're trying to take to make sure that everything is above board and that we come here and everybody's happy with what we present. So as we talk about the 14-15 attendance and discipline report, there are a couple of things that I'll be talking about. First thing will be attendance. We'll talk about the attendance for improvement that we have for the entire school year, 14-15. We'll get into some discipline. I'll cover some of the violence and vandalism reports and try to give some clear-cut definitions and examples of what that report entails, and also about suspensions and the distinctions between the types of suspensions that we do have. And then finally, sure there'll be some questions, so I address any questions that you guys may have. So as we talk about attendance, looking at 13-14 versus the 14-15 school year, we do see that we did receive we did realize almost a 1% increase in our overall district attendance rate, which I think is reason to be excited because it shows that we're on an upward trend, and it shows that there's some work that's actually being accomplished to prove that there's a whole correlation that's made between being in school and learning. So we want to make sure that we're getting our kids to school on time, getting our kids to school and to school on time to make sure that they are receiving the education that they are duly entitled to. So part of what we implemented through our department is what's called an attendance campaign. And in this campaign, it's about utilizing the resources that we have available to us in the school as well as throughout the district. So this is just a little graph of what that campaign entails. We have our attendance officers who identify the students who are considered to be chronically absent, and chronically absent is defined as those students who are missing 10% or more of available school days. Those officers, they go out and do home visits, make contact as best as they possibly can. It also involves the school counselor who meets with parents at the schools, develop corrective action plans. We're trying to get into the celebration mode where we're celebrating the success of students and families, honestly, who have shown improved attendance, not only those kids who come to school every day, but those kids who are actually showing improvement, and making sure that we're acknowledging them. So we're developing plans for that. And then they also report some additional absences for kids that we should be aware of who are not necessarily showing up on our 10% list. And then here back in the central office, last year was run through Mr. Ortiz, where we distributed the list of students. We had what was considered our second level mediation with parents, and those were the families who, after 2 or 3 home visits, we didn't necessarily see the improvement, so we would bring them down here to central office to have some second level meetings. If we did see improvement after that, then we did our referral to truancy court, and again, it's all about celebrating successes. So I said before, this is a collective effort where we're trying to utilize all the available resources that we have. And you see right there in the middle are our students with excessive absences, and that can be substituted for students who are beginning to exhibit traits of being truant. And there we have our circle where our attendance officers, teachers and counselors are involved, central office staff, parents. Missing from that piece is actually the school administrators who play, the building level administrators who play a critical role in this whole process. So before getting to the discipline aspect, there are a few things that I just like to present or just like to put out on the table. First is that the state reported violence and vandalism report, this is just the acts of violence. It doesn't spell out all of the suspensions that we had. It's just those acts of violence and vandalism that we are required to report to the state based on the definitions of violence and vandalism that the state puts out. And what we're trying to do, or one of the things that I'm really trying to do, is make sure that everything we do is aligned to something. Before it was kind of haphazard. This is my second year going into serving in this function. It was kind of haphazard as to how things were done. So now this is about trying to align what we're doing to actually what the state is requiring us to do, what the state is requiring us to report. So some of the numbers seem a little crazy, and I'll explain that in more detail, and I'm sure there'll be some additional questions about some of the numbers. I'm not sure how well that projects, but I know it didn't come across too fine in the copies that were distributed. But here is a detailed report of what was reported to NJDOE as we're required to in our EVBRS system, which is the Electronic Violence and Vandalism Reporting System. Last year when Dr. Wilson gave his presentation, he talked about having clean data. And he talked more so about not being able to trust the data that was presented in 13-14. So for that reason, I'm just, for the purpose of this, I'm giving you the 14-15 information. Because quite honestly, this is information that I can go back and prove, and I can go back and verify. So if we look at the assaults, 76 assaults, 86 fights, 18 threats, 5 incidents of death, 5 damage to property, 12 drug possessions, 18 weapons possessions, 8 sex offense, 1 false, 1 firearm offense, and 15 confirmed incidents of HIV or harassment, intimidation, and bullying. So that's what we have for, that's what we reported to the state for our violence and vandalism for the 14-15 school year. Just to give some clarification on definitions, fights. How a fight is determined is a mutual engagement in a physical confrontation that may result in bodily injury to either party. Does not include a verbal concentration, a verbal confrontation, or a minor confrontation, such as a shoving match. Each participant must be classified as an offender. One needs to consider age and developmentally appropriate behavior before using this category. For assault, when a person attempts to cause or purposely, knowingly, or recklessly causes bodily injury to another. So using those definitions is really how we were able to drill down to this. And just a little bit about the process of how I determine. There's always conversation that we have with our schools. I I'm not sure what the process was before, but there's always conversations that's had with the schools. When a report comes in, you know, I'm looking at it, I'm contacting the school where I received this. Is there any additional information that you would like to offer about this? So we have some discussion about it. Additionally, I'm going in to check the attendance to see if the child has been marked suspended. I'm going in to check Power School to see if a law has been entered for that particular incident. Just to be able to make sure that this is accurate. Out of school suspensions. So this list here is a breakdown by school of students who've been suspended at least once during the 2014-15 school year. Right, we see that number at 1,222 students. What that is not, that's not acts of suspension, total acts of suspension. What that is a number of students who have been suspended at least once. So included in that number, there are students who receive multiple suspensions. So just to give you what that number is, for the entire school year, there were 2,479 total suspensions. These suspensions is not a direct correlation of the violence and vandalism. So those numbers are not going to match, right? Because when you look at a fight, there can be 15 people involved in a fight. That's still one incident per state, one incident, right? So just keeping that in mind and just knowing that the numbers aren't going to jive. So if you're looking at, you know, the violence and vandalism report and say, hey, there are about a little over 200 incidents that were reported to the state, but you have over 1,200 students suspended. This is just violence and vandalism. The suspension list includes non-violent suspensions as well. 2,497 total suspensions, 1,222 kids suspended. In terms of the students receiving multiple suspensions, that number was 778 students who received multiple suspensions last year. And in-school suspension, which we don't have this year, 538 students received in-school suspension. And here's a breakdown of those 1,222 students by grade, and that's the number. So you can see where the greatest number of students are being suspended. So finally, some data that can be proven, you know, that I do trust from 13-14. And this is a comparison between the two. So you have your referrals. I'm considering them log entries because we want to drive everything back to Power School, right? Referrals were the paper reports that were handed to the office, called office referrals. We're on a push to have everything, every incident, whether it's results in a suspension or not, logged into Power School as a log entry to develop, not a profile, but to develop a history of a child. So that when we begin to have dialogue with parents, we have information in front of us without trying to pull out 20,000 different sheets of paper. We just go into Power School, press log entry, and everything comes up, the history of that child comes up in terms of discipline and referrals. So 13,528, 13-14 versus last year, 9,035. Police calls for service, which last year when that number was reported, I remember it was like, wow, that's a huge number. So 14,070, 13-14 versus 534 and 14-15. And just a quick thing about the police calls for service. That does not mean that there was an incident at the school. Right, so a police call for service is when, you know, there can be, a school can call and say that, you know, I need some additional support during dismissal. Or a community member may call and say, hey, I saw somebody walking past, the school looking suspicious. So of that last year, 534, 24 resulted in an actual police report being generated. That doesn't mean that there was an arrest. It just means that a police report was being generated. So something resulted as a result of that. Unfortunately, police wouldn't share that with me, but 24 reports were generated as a result of those 534 calls. In terms of the administrative and legal hearings, there were 68 in 13-14, 6 in 14-15. And I'm sure there'll be some questions about that. So I'm going to pause right there and say, and save that for question and answer session. And say that, as we begin this new school year, we're definitely trying to address some of the concerns in terms of proper utilization of the system. We do want Power School to be our source of information. There are a lot of resources being expended on this system. We want to make sure that we get maximum bang for the buck in terms of utilization of this system. So we're utilizing Power School as our data source. So there's a push to make sure that all those schools who were a little lax in reporting or entering information are on top of that this year. And I can tell you that as of today, we are seeing increased usage and utilization of our system for logging entries. We are also trying to make sure that we have a proper handle on the potential discipline issues that we may encounter during the school year. We're doing quarterly data review meetings. There's 6 different cohorts where schools are coming together with like demographics and like issues that meet quarterly so that we can share some best practices and bounce some ideas past each other to begin to address some of those issues. I'm making sure that I'm visible out in the schools. I don't believe that I can do my job effectively if I'm just sitting behind the desk and answer phone calls or, say, okay, the suspension is good, let's schedule this legal hearing. Being out in the field, not only meeting with administrators, but also interfacing with the children has been very helpful, I think, to me, as I try to do this job as best I can. And really just continue the dialogue with our administrators to make sure that they feel that they have the supports that they need back here in the central office. So with that, I'll end and answer any questions that may come up.
Terrence, so my concern is on the slide that was broke down the suspensions by grade level. Would you be able to give just an example? Like I'm looking at the kindergarten numbers, it's 21, first grade 70. To me, that's a little disturbing. So can you share with me like what would have caused a suspension for a kindergartner? I mean, I don't know.
I can't give you a specific example, but those are pretty much non-violent offenses where we have those issues of disrespect, where it just becomes a suspendable offense at that point if the behavior does not correct itself. And I realize that we can't suspend our way out of this issue sometimes, but sometimes a suspension is warranted. So if you see a kindergarten getting suspended, it's because that those non-violent tier 1 offenses, according to the student code of conduct, have just been to a level where it just can't be tolerated, and there needs to be some type of punitive action leaded against the child, the student.
Can you list those offenses? Like, you might have in front of you, what would characterize those offenses? Like what, give the list of the offenses that are the tier 1.
Off the top of my head, without having the student code of conduct in front of me, that's cutting late to class, willful disobedience, disrespect, horseplay, things of that nature.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Or any questions? So moved. Roll call.
T.A. Graham?
Yes.
Thea Dustin?
Yes.
Denise Middleton absent. Jane Rosenbaum? Yes. Guillermo Gomez?
Yes.
Joe Trueheart?
Yes.
Lucy Vandenberg?
Yes.
Jason Redd? Motion passed.
Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act codified in NJSA 10:4-6 executor permits exclusion of the public from meeting under certain circumstances, and whereas the Trenton Board of Education is of the opinion that such circumstances exist, indicated as follows: any pending or anticipated litigation or contract negotiations which the board is or may become a party in any matter falling within the attorney-client privilege to the extent that confidentiality is required to preserve the attorney-client relationship and allow the attorney to exercise his or her medical duties of a lawyer. Legal invoices in the amount of $3,804 payable to Floyd Carucci Steinhardt Jr. in the matter of NJSTA versus International NJ Foundation for Open Government Class EB TBOE 10-year charges for AF after an employment contract and general legal matters. Personnel matters related to the employment, appointment, termination of employment, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation of performance of, promotion of, disciplining of, any specific prospective public officer, employer, current public officer, or employee employed or appointed by the public body, unless all individuals who be adversely affected request in writing the matter being discussed at the public meeting. 10-year charges for PW and MP, and disciplinary actions for SH. Now therefore be resolved in the Trenton Board of Education, County of Windsor, State of New Jersey, the executive session will be held on October 5th, 2015 for the statutorily permissible purposes indicated in this resolution. Be it further advised that action may be taken by the board when reconvening the open session. Be it finally resolved that the minutes of the executive session with regard to the above matter shall be disclosed to the public at a later date, and to the extent that the same is not prejudicial to the interest of the party involved, no longer adverse to public interest, or does not endanger any individual's right to privacy. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
D.A. Graham.
Yes.
Tia Gusson.
Yes.
Denise Millington, absent. Jane Rosenbaum.
Yes.
Guillermo Gomez.
Yes.
Joe Trueheart.
Yes.
Lucy Van Bird.
Yes.
Jason Wade. Adjourned to the session.